Alright, fellers. Finally, after a big hiatus, we got ourselves a new reaction video, other than the Delinquent of Doom video, which was still a lot of fun. We got the new Sawed-Off Wads, Sawed-Off 3 from the Dean of the Doom. I had much less of a hand in making this than the other one, although the last one I didn't really have much of a hand anyway. All I did was just suggest stuff, and he picked some of it, and that was basically it. I made some suggestions this time. I guess we'll see if any of them made it in. If I doubt it, honestly. But, if anything made it in, we'll see. If not, well, then, yeah. Let's see. The usual Mount Pain 27, the 27th Mountain of Pain, has given me consent to make this video. If you've not seen the original, please go to his channel, give him your first view, and come back here, and we will watch this together. Continuing my trend of eating random stuff during these reaction videos, today we got ourselves a Quaker Oats granola bar. We got a chocolate chip peanut butter, because I'm like that dog that can't eat medicine without 300 pounds of peanut butter being on it. Alright, let's get going. Sawed Off 3.
Hello there,
Hi.
I'm Mount Pain 27, and this is Sawed Off Wads, a Dean of Doom spin-off where we give grades to bite-sized, classic, and contemporary Doom wads. Why? Because ranking things is fun. I'm still waiting on a few new computers to ship after the Arch Vandals got in here on Halloween.
You're missing
so
some.
I've got fewer wads on tap today, but we get to dig into each one a little deeper than usual. Today's gimmick is that all the maps we'll be covering were released from 2015 on. Here's how—
Oh, well. I guess none of my stuff's getting featured, because none of my stuff is from, like, 2007 onward, so.
the show works. Every map gets one grade for
One of my
quality
suggestions,
and
anyway.
one for difficulty. On the quality side, the grades go from A to F. Grade A levels are fun, memorable, visually distinct.
Hey, wait, we're back to the old font. Wait a minute. Yeah, we're back to the old font. Is this just for Sawed Off, or are we changing our minds and we're going back?
Distinctive, creative, and a fair challenge.
guess we'll see.
Difficulty grades go from X to E. X for extreme,
This is still here,
E
though.
for easy, A through D in between. Keep in mind, I probably won't have the same ideas about what makes a great level as you do, but that's okay. Disagreeing is part of the fun, after all. At the end of the day, this show is about spreading the joy of Doom, so let's do so. Before we start, the rules are we play on
here we
ultra
go.
violence and must pistol start each level. I need to play the wad twice before reviewing it. Saves are allowed, and we go for 100% kills in all levels, making exceptions when it's just not worth it. Now, to the wads.
All right.
First up, we have Violence by AD79. This 4-map boom-compatible set
purple.
comes with a spanking new set of weapon sprites, a purple, gold, and red-shifted color scheme, several sound replacements, and a synthwave soundtrack by artist Dan Terminus. Make sure you're playing on a port that supports non-MIDI music before you lock and load. Map 1, Excavations. Violence, more like Valiance. It's high praise to say this wad never rides the coattails of its influences. Right off the bat, Violence establishes a full aesthetic personality. Bold reds and fierce violets lacerate the landscape. Ribbons of primary colors pulse through the rock as if the soundtrack is pumping out of the map itself. For perspective, Excavations is the slowest and gentlest map in the WAD, mostly due to its non-linearity, abundance of rockets, launchers, and squishy foes, and optional crannies to plumb. The red key unlocks the super shotty,
Thought you said grannies. I'll be honest. Thought you said grannies.
whose new kaboom earns my seal of approval.
Okay.
Excavations is a smooth opener, but it's just a tone setter for what follows. Grade A-, difficulty C. Map 2, Sinkhole. Big things come in small packages. A possible inspiration for Sinkhole
That's how I flirt with the ladies.
Showdown from Ancient Aliens.
Wait a minute.
This hot-blooded popcorn map will get your attention or your money back. AD lets you blast through the opening like a bat out of hell, plants a clever secret plasma rifle in the compound for curious climbers, and then rips the rug out from under you. Wait a minute, not there? When does it— oh,
That is an amazing looking plasma gun, by the way. Wow, that looks so cool.
This ambush gets me every single time. It's a brilliant little fight, and I love it. Sinkhole has few equals in the 3-minute map category, so let's give it an A with a difficulty of C. Map 3, Offshore. Think Mount Erebus, but it's made of concrete and tripping on acid. Offshore is a slam dunk of adrenaline with tremendous potential for chaining together combos of rockets and flak on the run. Every time I turn it on, my Doom instincts take over instantly. It's the perfect ecosystem for combat. Cacos rule the skies, zombies vainly spray and pray, imps sacrifice themselves for sweet jibs.
Looks kind of like the Nether from Minecraft, but without, like... or just with, like, a purple sky. And yeah, yeah.
And revenants threaten danger at every turn. The arena is surrounded by 20 damage liquid gold, upping the stakes for daring escapes.
Macaroni and
Offshore is
cheese!
just one tiny flaw. To get the red key, you have to hit an unmarked teleporter on the least conspicuous island in the map. I think it needed more than a handful of shotgun shells to attract the eye, though I will take some responsibility for being absent-minded in repeat playthroughs. Offshore makes violence worth a download all by itself. This is AD 79 at his best. Grade A, difficulty B-. Map 4, Violence. This huge, interlocking, light-bright facility is the heart of its namesake WAD. It's the largest and most laborious map in the set, but by my reckoning, it's not the best. Violence lacks two qualities that make the preceding maps great: concision and simplicity. Beating Violence will probably take you longer than the first 3 maps put together. While that's still not a long time, it never heats up as much as maps 2 and 3 do. Violence is overwhelmingly hit-scan heavy, which discourages reckless play. Oh yeah, I forgot this track has vocals. I'm for experimenting with non-MIDI Doom music, but hearing human voices in the background makes me feel a little bit like I'm listening to iTunes after turning off the MIDI soundtrack. Why would you want to do that? Anyway, looking at the Doom wiki stats, I think I may have discovered
I'm digging it though. Big fan.
Formula. 90% of his monsters are rocket food. Hit scan.
Even if it does hit the ear a little weird.
Pinkies and imps. This homogeneity explains why Map 4's fights tend to blend together. With the exception of this hyper-dense blood channel gauntlet and the yellow key disco dance, I can only think of one other encounter that makes an impression. This miniature homage to Skillsaw's final countdown fights.
Oh, Jesus.
Violence works hard to be accessible, but its size and visual continuity make navigation difficult, especially after you use the yellow key, which knocks out one of the main hallways to make space for the final fight. Speaking of which, what an anticlimax. Grab your plasma weapon of choice, microwave one archvile, punch a hole, and that's all she wrote. Violence's final map is airtight, elegantly drawn, and undeniably exciting, but I prefer the first 3 maps. Grade B+, difficulty B+.
That was wonderful.
AD79 designed this WAD to be a nice, relaxing sit-back-and-play Doom set, but Violence is more than that. It delivers a strong hour of thrills in a pretty package and makes it look easy. My final grade for Violence is an A, with a difficulty of B-. Our next WAD is Alien Vendetta Black Label.
Oh! I get to talk about this! Okay, Black Label had Valley of Echoes, and I don't remember what the other map was.
Maps made by Brad Vorpal Spencer to commemorate the 15th anniversary of the original Megawad and the revamping of its website. It contains a brand new Map 1 replacement and a remake of Valley of Echoes, which was dropped from the Megawad in the 2002 re-release.
And I am so sad that it was, because I love Valley of Echoes.
Analogous to John Romero's Tech Gone Bad and Phobos Mission Control, these 2 maps demonstrate Brad Spencer's maturation as a mapper, while also harkening back to the stuff that made him famous. Let's dive in. Map 1, Levenbreck. A hushed town draped in shadows and vine growth, Levenbreck deviates radically from Alien Vendetta's broader design ethos, but retains the twilit, vaguely medieval look that characterizes its first episode. The title is a Dune series reference.
I mean, I'm looking at it and I'm thinking like that one map from, I think it was like map 23. It's the one with, it's like a big castle, there's like a courtyard, there's like cyber demons. I don't remember the name of it, but that's what it reminds me of.
Loosely translating to Lifebreaker. But don't worry, Levenbreck doesn't want to pound you into a pulp. I most associate Brad Spencer with the hard-hitting tech bases that anchor AV's midsection, so it's a shock to see his name on such a subdued, labyrinthine construct. It seems his time with the Back to Saturn X crew made a big impression. Levenbreck is deeply intertwined, maximizes detailing under vanilla limits, and stubbornly resists orthogonality. Spencer's refusal to rely on the grid creates unique shapes. The crooked city plan melds organically with the intrigue of Jimmy Paddock's exotic nighttime MIDI. Levenbreck is a fairly opaque first playthrough, full of weird traps, wandering monsters, and dead ends whose discoveries are their own rewards. Having missed them on first playthrough, I delighted in finding this indented brick, which opens the way to the optional yellow key, and this side passage with a hidden blue armor. The action is a bit weak, mostly down-tempo skirmishes and sniper sniping, but the only real bum fight is the Cyber Demon battle. I wasted ammo peekaboo super shotgunning him because I was too chicken to dip my toes in his wading pool without a BFG. All told, Levenbreck is a handsome, nostalgic ode to Andy Johnson and Kim Malda's work, and an impressive exhibition of everything Brad Spencer learned about mapping post-2001. Grade A-, difficulty B. Map 2, Valley of Echoes. I have not played the original Valley.
Oh, this isn't even the same? Okay, it's... Okay, alright. I thought it was just gonna be just straight up Valley of Echoes. I know he said it was a remake, but I was expecting... Alright, well, I don't know what I was expecting. Alright. What do we got?
Valley of Echoes, but the gameplay footage I've seen of it leads me to believe that its remake distinguishes itself enough for me not to have to. Brad Spencer reinvents himself once again in this twisted marriage of mountain and metal. Valley of Echoes is more inscrutable than its Black Label brother and a bit harder to like, but it's got some highly original flourishes, and it's fun to watch Spencer's old-fashioned and newfangled sensibilities play tug-of-war. The first time I played this map, finding weapons was a major problem. The SSG's right in front of your face at the start, but Spencer's odd choice of lift texture bamboozled me.
Context, it's also been, like, 7 months since I played Alien Vendetta. So, I don't fully remember the layout of the weapons in Valley of Echoes. I don't remember a whole lot, to be honest, but I remember liking it.
An early plasma gun is also available, but you get a lot more ammo for the rocket launcher, and it doesn't lower unless you find this computer terminal. Valley of Echoes strikes a balance between the rough-hewn visuals of yesteryear and snazzy modern detailing, and I appreciate its evolution-esque penchant for obscure bonus content. This gargantuan cavern serves no purpose except to offer the player an early BFG if they can outwit the cyber demon, and a secret trove of health and ammo if they somehow divine...
Yeah, I remember now. There was like 800 kajillion cyber demons at the end. I remember now, kind of vaguely.
This wall and go back over here. The player is at liberty to explore almost the entire map without finding a single key. Only the yellow card is required to exit, but die-hard UV maxers will likely lose their minds over the blue key if they don't pop open a Doom editor. It's hidden behind 2 secret walls, a fake wall, and 4 arch files. Is it too much? Probably, but Spencer ultimately makes the payoff of sights and spoils worth it. I think Valley of Echoes is a tad too long and a bit cruel at the very end, but it's undeniably multi-layered, underivative, and carefully wrought. Grade B+, difficulty A-. Next up to bat is a Boom-compatible WAD originally published in 2016 and polished up for re-release in 2021, Traveling to the Moon by YugiBoy85. How could I resist? The less famous of the 2 finished maps in Yugi-Boy 85's Moon series, Traveling to the Moon drops you into a
Man on the Moon was the other one, right?
Army of demons that have overrun a terrestrial space base. First and foremost, this is a glowing spotlight for Yugi-Boy's combat. He infuses every encounter with urgency, heft, and stylish carnage, especially the big ones. Your moon-bound shuttle is locked behind all 3 keys, each guarded by a hellish battalion. The multi-part cave fight for the blue key lulls you into a greedy frenzy with a delicious army of imps before loosing 3 archviles on you while mounted Mancubi flame you from behind. Getting the red key requires you to brave a 2-part assault within and without this beautifully lit base. Step lively when the vials join the dance and keep the rockets coming when the Kako Cloud descends.
Oh my god.
The 3-stage yellow key sequence might be the hardest fight in the Moon series to date. The Martians will have you diving for cover while Zombie Knots and Spider Mission Control rake you over the coals, and the Revenant rocket barrage will terrorize you in a cover-starved circuit like this. Don't look behind you, just assume that a meteor shower is always on your ass. The ending fight, which plays like a milder prototype for Man on the Moon's collapsing closer, seems slightly upstaged by what's come before, and that's a fitting summary for how I feel about this WAD compared to Man on the Moon. Traveling is a shorter map, but it feels a bit draggier than its sequel, and it's also a trifle less pretty, owing to Yugi-Boy's liberal application of this gray rock texture. But what the hell. There isn't much that compares to Man on the Moon, and Traveling to the Moon is a rousing and memorable map in its own right. I can't wait to see how this trilogy ends. Grade A, difficulty A-.
Our
next stop on the Sawed-Off Express is Altitude by Tourniquet. Released the same year as, and criminally overshadowed by Tourniquet's Miasma, Altitude was the designer's first
I do have Miasma on my list, but not soon. You know the deal.
Foray into vanilla mapping. I would never have known of its existence were it not for his interview on An Evening with Nirvana, which I highly recommend to everyone watching this, even if you're not a podcast person. I'm not either. Nirvana is a tremendous interviewer, and his list of Doom-famous guests grows by 1 every single week, so go indulge your curiosity. With that targeted mid-roll ad and a tiny bit of foreshadowing concluded, let's get into Altitude. For being built entirely out of Doom 2 assets and bound to vanilla limits, Altitude smacks gobs with its depth, sprawl, and variety, centered around a...
Do I have Altitude on my list? I might. It sounds familiar. I feel like I've typed it in my document somewhere. Let me look. I really shouldn't take time to do this. I should kind of just play the video, but I'm curious now. I know for a fact Miasma's on there. Let me see here. My phone's... my Google Sheets crashed. I don't care. I'll do it during this, actually.
City block, Altitude pushes outward in all directions and tinkers with a bevy of themes. Slime base, computer laboratory, industrial machinery, and hellish nightmare. Tourniquet makes the vast majority of his map optional. He places 6 keys, but only requires you to find 2. Altitude's layout is undeniably complex and may disorient newcomers, but each section is so fluidly interconnected and so strongly distinguished that I take responsibility for adding meander time to play through 2. It's impossible to take the same route through this map twice, and if it isn't, I wouldn't want to. Secret hunting and pure exploration fuse seamlessly with Tourniquet's taut combat. It was neat to experience Altitude's fights in a different order my second
Digging the
time
song,
around,
by the way.
and I was very impressed by how similarly weighted all the encounters felt. Normally, I do a lot of talking to myself when I play, but Altitude kept me so engaged that I often forgot to, although it's distinctly possible that Zanzan Zawavea's contagious MIDI just reprogrammed my brain.
They're a great MIDI musician. Love them.
Altitude's high points include this pulse-pounding poison pit fight, ironclad.
I wouldn't have even caught that without the Archvile sound. My favorite part of that bit is the fact that you don't even... You don't, like, put the pun counter anymore. You kind of just play the sound and move on. I think that's really good.
Secret arena it tries to disguise, the unnerving switch hunt that sinks along with your stomach into a bloody fray, the sludgy cave next door which houses a half-dozen archviles mushing a team of imps and a spider queen holding court, and the final fight, which is just tricky enough to earn its exit guarding post, but cushy enough for players who just want to get in and get out. Tourniquet doesn't mess around when it comes to hiding secrets. Lacking a Doom wiki page to cry to, I had to leave one archvile behind to tell the boss what happened. Some nincompoop on these games called Altitude miasma, but with poorer textures, fewer sectors, and worse music. They could not be more wrong. This map encapsulates everything great about Tourniquet's mapping. Visual appeal, adventure, compact combat, replayability, and eccentricity, which I like best of all. Grade A, difficulty A. Speaking of eccentricity, our next map is called Doom Guy Gets a Puppy by Big Ol' Billy.
Yeah! Look at the doggy! Ah! Alright, I'm excited. What do we got?
Lil E. Whenever I see Big Ol' Billy's name on a Doom wad, I get excited. There's a through line of roguish whimsy in his stuff that I can't get enough of, and Doom Guy Gets a Puppy is where he made his start. The backstory in the text file sets the stage. Reeling from the loss of his pet rabbit Daisy, Doom Guy retires to a life of cheese eating in France, where he passes by a pet shop and meets eyes with an adorable Yorkie. He's instantly smitten, but the shop's owners don't want him to have the puppy, for reasons, so they chuck it into a portal that leads to a demonic castle. It's worth recapping this awful story because Billy...
What did that say? Sorry.
He's instantly smitten, but the shop's owners don't want him to have the puppy, for reasons, so they chuck it into a portal that leads to a demonic castle. It's worth recapping this odd little story because Billy took great pains to integrate narrative into his map. I'd go so far as to say the story moments are the primary draw of Doom Guy Gets a Puppy.
Save the dog!
Not that you should go in expecting a walk in the dog park. Billy's got some nasty surprises in store, and the last throwdown in the hedges unleashes hell, as well it should. That's where the pooch is. Since I can't...
In case you can't guess, in case you haven't figured it out yet, massive, massive animal lover. So I love dogs. I love dogs, man. I love all animals. But seeing a wad about you're trying to save a dog, love it.
Do justice to the kookiness of this map's left-hand turns, I don't want to spoil too much, but suffice to say, Billy turned the puppy into a pickup. Sometimes I get to thinking there's a shortage of...
Wait a minute! Excuse me!
Since I can't do justice to the kookiness of this map's left-hand turns, I don't want to spoil too much, but suffice to say, Billy turned the puppy into a pickup. Sometimes I get to thinking there's a shortage of levity in the Doom community, and Doom Guy Gets a Puppy is an antidote to that. It isn't a comedy per se, but its wry self-awareness is refreshing, and it's chock full of lovable details. Llewellyn P. Wallaby Punch? Priceless. This is a must-play for fans of Big Ol' Billy and dogs.
Is that a Finding Nemo reference?
Difficulty.
Sounds like I'm Finding Nemo
Moving on
reference.
to our next screen within a screen, we have Brigandine by Viggles. This decadently detailed fortress wheel...
I believe Brigandine is also on my list. That sounds very familiar. Let's see what we got.
It's Vanilla Doom 2 textures
Digging the music very much, by the way.
like Arthur did Excalibur. Viggles might not be prolific, but he'd give Insane Gazebo a run for his money in a most line defs per map competition, and in just 20 minutes he convinced me that he's in the same league as Moldy and Mechadon visual design-wise. Bloodstained and soaked with dread, Brigandine overflows with breathtaking sights, and its action is tightly wound, but not as scary as its soundtrack tries to convince you it is. Viggles would be hard-pressed to pair his map's aesthetic riches with combat in the same percentile, but he takes an honest crack at it, surviving with low-tier weaponry is part of the fun in playthrough 1, and makes finding secrets all the sweeter. The lushly lit watery cave secret rewards bookworms with Berserk, and dropping down this blood fountain awards you an early rocket launcher. By the time you reach in this Satyr's mouth to unlock the BFG, you better be expecting trouble. Viggles rigs half of his secrets with nasty traps, so keep your trigger finger twitchy. Brigandine saves its best for last. Picking up the yellow key opens the portcullis for a vile company, floods the parapets with revenants and arachnos, and sneaks a pain elemental in for good measure. It's a shrewd and tricky encounter that makes good use of its environment, but it's also the only one that struck a chord with me. I think Brigandine would have cleaned up in a community project setting, but suffers a bit as a solo outing. The main takeaway here is this: Brigandine will awe and inspire fellow mappers, and should entertain players of all backgrounds, but jaded Deans of Doom struggle.
Whom has DM'd me? Okay, that's fine. You can DM me.
Well, to give it grades higher
Is my girlfriend for context.
A minus.
That's fine, she gets the pass.
B. Making our way downtown, walking fast, faces past, and I'm bound.
Thank you for that, Mount Pain.
Difficulties of B. Making our way downtown, walking fast, faces past, and I'm bound for the Egg of Human Endeavors by Benjogami.
Alright!
This is a Boom-compatible map, and we're playing on the One True Hero difficulty. This dizzying slice of insanity is the perfect Dean of Doom debut for the Toilet God. It takes 666 monsters and throws them into a massive burning cauldron shaped like the Golden Ratio. Let me boil it down for you. The Egg of Human Endeavor.
It's that fucking bit again. Even if I don't get the joke, the Archvile sound still makes it for me.
Burning cauldron shaped like the Golden Ratio. Let me boil it down for you. The Egg of Human Endeavor.
Oh, boiled egg, dumbass. Yeah, I get it now.
This is broken into 3 fights: the tower, the eyeball, and the egg. The first 2 look humbler, but bite harder. The most difficult section of the map in terms of deaths per attempt is undoubtedly this secret BFG jump, which you have to hit for 100% kills, and so you don't get mopped in the next fight. The tower has a higher failure rate, but at least you can take it slow, unlike the eye. Pressured by cyber rockets, teleporting Hell Knights and Imps, and the oncoming swarm of captains, you must 1. Not fall, 2. Make space without blowing yourself up, 3. Avoid projectiles with 0 cover, 4. Whittle down the barons and cyber demons guarding precious health and supplies, and 5. Not fall. Even after the barons and cybers are dead, the knights, barons, and imps are lethal, both as snipers and potential tripping hazards. It's impossible to circle strafe what encourages it by design. That's what makes this fight so damn exciting. This nefarious premise is elevated by Benjogami's monolithic, psychotropic visuals. The ludicrous draw distance takes this blinding hot collision of flickering, scrolling colors and rips it apart. This geometry calls for poetic phrases like wedges of chaos and demented playground of the Antichrist, because conventional descriptions fail completely. Make a leap of faith from the tip of the crescent and you'll initiate the final battle on the egg. It requires patience to defeat, but the solution lies in Benjo's minimalist layout. As long as you make horseshoes around the arena, the Archvile packs will get caught on their claw-shaped cradles, and you're free to chip away at the revenants,
I was hoping he was gonna get through that
with the rocket launcher. When opportunity knocks, vaporize some vials, restock on cells, retreat, and repeat. I strongly recommend playing on a port that allows you to turn off vertical momentum on rocket collisions. You'll be waiting hours for the last few cacos to come back down. The Egg of Human Endeavors.
Turn off vertical momentum on what now? My brain's too small for that, I'm sorry.
Stirs the imagination and stimulates the fingers. I think I need to play it one more time to master it, but its focused strangeness has captured me completely. Grade A, difficulty.
That looked wonderful.
Footnote, I accidentally played a few minutes on HMP at the start of this recording, and it seemed much kinder and more accessible. I recommend it for those who don't want to suffer, but also don't want to miss out on the...
Is this Focus Island 2? Is this Focus Island 2? I doubt it, because you said it was from 2015 onward, but it looks a little bit like Focus Island 2. Anyway.
Experience. Alright, time to get serious.
Alright, what is this?
Our second to last WOD of the day is Entropy by Nirvana, a golden murder machine
Oh. Oh, that's what you meant by foreshadowing. I couldn't piece it together. Okay, alright, okay, I get you.
In the same void that spawned Sunlust's last 2 maps, Entropy is, first and foremost, way beyond my skill level, which makes it an unusual challenge to review. The Doom Gods will have a knowing chuckle at the fact that it took me 2 hours to finish my 3rd clear of Entropy, but somebody who just got the hang of the Plutonia experiment would be within their rights to wring my neck if I suggest they play this, so this is my due diligence. Entropy's maker is the kind of guy who loves Swim with the Whales, so you've been warned.
Right. Makes sense. Oh my god.
Even if neon nihilism isn't your favorite Doom aesthetic, it's impossible to...
Neon nihilism. Neon nihilism. I like that.
deny Entropy's beauty. Nirvana takes insane Gazebo, Dan Babinga, and Ribix's bleak visions and makes them shimmer. He's an absolute wonderkin with Voodoo Doll light sequences, and his breathtaking palette work brings out a nuanced range of yellows, browns, grays, and oranges. Entropy is an incredibly long map, and I think a blow-by-blow would be rather exhausting to write and to listen to, so I'll give you my broad thoughts on the map, and then focus in on a few highlights. Nirvana has gone on record to say that Entropy was made while he was still in a make every fight as hard as possible phase, and I agree with that assessment. Even his break fights can singe your eyeballs off. Playing pedal to the metal for 2 solid hours may sound like a daunting prospect, but Entropy doesn't beleaguer the player like a Swim with the Whales or a Deus Vult. There's not really any grinding in Entropy. Its fights are dense, end fairly quickly, and require minimal.
Oh my god, he got through that, okay.
Each encounter, there's almost always space for an unharried break, which allows you to celebrate hard-fought victories and regroup. Nirvana's fights have a lot of cosmetic value. The monsters attack in satisfying formations, and there's usually enough chaff mixed in with the heavy hitters to give the player some hope. Early Ribix and Death Destiny maps care little for this sort of thing. Entropy is littered with secrets. They're surprisingly easy to find if you know what to look for, and promise stellar rewards for completionists. So far, it sounds like Nirvana can do no wrong. Well, wrong is in the eye of the Cacodemon, but I do have a few quibbles with Entropy, which I'll illustrate by juxtaposing a few of its fights. Let's start with the massive Imp and Hell Knight Flash Flood. This is everything I love about Nirvana's combat, all rolled into one. Piles of corpses slowly squeezing your available space, edge of your seat drama, and a novel twist. You can close the teleport gates temporarily by pressing these switches. Now look at this fight, which we see half a dozen iterations of in the map. A blob of heavies mobs you in tight quarters, and you either need to rocket them quickly or make them infight with a cyber demon. These fights are easy to f up, less exciting than stressful, and not even fun to win, because you either plan ahead for them or feel like you won by pure luck. Another comparison,
I can see
this
that.
time between two of the toughest battles in the WoD. This platforming fight
Oh my
is one
god.
of the most batshit encounters I've had the pleasure of playing, because it made me
Good
face
lord.
my fear of platforming, face rocketing, and getting bulldozed by Revenant missiles all at the same time. Beating this fight without the BFG in my first playthrough made me feel like I broke through my own skill ceiling, and that was a gem.
Hell yeah!
On the other hand, we have the final fight, which is hands down my least favorite of the map.
Oh
The
boy.
setup is there's a huge clot of Revenants and Archviles in the center, a deluge of Cacos and Pain Elementals will swamp the arena and infight with 4 immobile Cyber Demons, and you have to somehow stem the tide by blinking back and forth between 2 instant teleporters. Compared to the platforming stage, this fight feels jittery, subject to randomness, and extremely inhibitive.
Ooh.
I know that part of my problem is lack of imagination, but I feel totally unable to improvise or control this situation, and only achieved victory through sheer stubbornness. The final fight holds you prisoner. The platforming fight sets you free. Before I really start to sound full of it, let me wrap with this. Entropy is the kind of map that I hone my skills to be able to play. The way I see it, the only reason to get better at Doom is to visit maps like this. In that way, Entropy is like one of Homer's sirens. Its beautiful song tempts you straight down to a cold and murky death. Grade A, difficulty X+.
Alright, so I thought you meant Homer Simpson for a second, so I was about to get confused. Also, damn, X plus number 2, alright.
Whew, man, I'm wiped. You know, the best thing to do after knocking out a map
It is Focus Island 2. Because I hear the waves already, it is Focus Island 2.
as hard as Entropy is to take a little vacation. And I hear the UAC just started up a cruise line.
No, I'm wrong! Ah! I was deceived. What's in the chest? A drink! I'll drink too. Oh my god.
Our last wad for today is Overboard by Moldy.
Why would I expect anything else? Of course it's going to be Overboard.
I played this 6-map set as soon as it hit Doom World last year, and I'm not afraid to say it was the most fun I had.
Damn it, dude. I got deceived. I got baited. I thought it was going to be Focus Island 2. Because he was asking me about it a while ago. Well, not like to play it, but he was just asking about my thoughts. Damn it.
Playing Doom in 2022. I've been itching to
I thought he was going to throw a curveball and have one that wasn't, like, 2015 plus at the end. Oh well.
cover it for months because on top of being a treat to play, it's overflowing with legendary puns. So surf's up. Map 1, Cruisin' in UAC. Welcome back, Syriac, and welcome back, toilets. Give that loo a flush and head outside to investigate. I like Doom Guy and all, but he's not very bright getting on a UAC ship after everything that happened back in 2014. That, or he's just a workaholic and anticipated the demons would try to ruin his holiday. Cruisin' in UAC reminds us that Moldy never lost his Doom Cute champion belt. The crane that lowers your getaway boat into the water is the snazziest example, but details like these nightstands, bedspreads, chairs, and emergency strobes in the flooded below decks really go the extra mile. This so-called luxury vessel
The song is really good.
is the size of a modest fishing boat, and the compactness adds to the urgency of combat. The hallways are spring-loaded with ambushes, and you should expect juicy items to be rigged, but Moldy provides plenty of barrels to disperse crowds. The marvelous thing about Overboard is that it's conspicuously more relaxed than Going Down, but retains all the same Moldyisms.
And, you know, actually, before people give me shit for not recognizing that was Overboard, I've never seen Overboard in my life. Let me just say that before people roast me for not recognizing that it was going to be Overboard. Never seen the title screen, never seen gameplay, don't know anything about it, other than the fact it's Syriac.
Music, for instance, is unmistakably Syriac, but this time around it's more jolly and nervy. If you finish cruising in UAC, you'll be hard-pressed to put this wad down till it's done. Grade A, difficulty D+. Map 2, Skeleton Coast. Grade
Hold on a
A,
second, let me read that.
difficulty D+. Map 2, Skeleton Coast.
The Skeleton Coast is an inhospitable region on the Atlantic coast of Africa. Skeletons equals revenants, okay. Okay.
You know, in terms of Doom comedy, I don't think you can top an imp flinging itself off a sinking ship. The UAC has screwed you over yet again. The motorboat only had enough fuel to reach a nearby island, which isn't as deserted as it looks. Skeleton Coast out-Plutonias the Casali brothers for pure trapcraft. This place is riddled with micro-monster closets and cursed with throngs of teleporting foes. When you reach the top of the island, you can find a gas can and this ham radio shack. Now, I somehow never noticed this until my third playthrough, but Moldy causes a ship to appear in the bay when you open the door, which unleashes a small army of skinny pirates and
Interesting.
red hats. I've never seen a mapper go so out of his way to make his level accessible for the monsters. Moldy deploys
That's
a set of
really
stealth
cool.
caverns
Oh my
to the
god.
cliff when the big fight starts, stirs the pot with some unmarked monster-only teleport lines, and activates timed lips that carry the demons right up to you. If you grab the gas can early, be ready to fight your way out while the monsters above you take free shots. This map is wonderful. Grade A+, difficulty C+. Map 3, Depth Charge. Watch this.
Oh, submarine! Oh my god.
I'm not sure what's more magical, that Moldy managed to script a rising submarine into his Doom map and then build that submarine essentially to scale, complete with portholes you can look out of, or that his map is riotously fun even within the confines of realism. Depth Charge is essentially one long room broken into compartments, but it's never too cramped despite constantly throwing stuff at you, and detailed such that it could almost be lived in. In the room with the furnace and rocket conveyor belt, the map reaches fever pitch. The archvile by the plasma gun can cause real trouble behind the Baron blockade if you don't jump on it with both feet, and the walls with legs will get too close for comfort.
The walls
and
with
beat you
legs.
aggressively. The last fight is the perfect synthesis of combat and in-world functionality. Moldy allows quick-footed players to crush the last flood of revenants with the engine pistons. I am
Okay.
totally in awe of this map. It's impish, adorable,
No, those are revenants, those aren't imps.
thrilling, and wildly creative. Grade A+.
I can do it too! I can do it too!
Difficulty C. Map 4, Kakotoa.
Kakotoa, oh my god. That's pretty funny, actually.
Puns for the pun god. Another deliriously entertaining island excursion, Kakotoa erupts into full-fledged insanity within minutes of your arrival. I confess I've never kept enough of my cool to figure out how this map actually works, but it seems like demons start coming out of the woodwork on a timer once you secure all the weapons. Kakotoa's craggy setting offers less to work with visually, but Moldy's layout is supremely flexible and offers nearly limitless replay potential with how chaotically the monsters mingle. I could have gulped down this invuln sooner, I suppose, but it seems to exist mostly for the benefit benefit of players who aren't used to going down levels of anxiety. For now, this is still a fairly laid-back affair. Grade A, difficulty B-. Map 5, Archipelago.
Oh my god.
I wonder what could be on this little island. Oh no, not Archviles conducting some kind of freaky ritual that literally flips the island upside down. Moldy, you've done it again. Archipelago is...
Sounded like you were trying not to laugh when you were reading that.
Oh no, not Archviles conducting some kind of freaky ritual that literally flips the island upside down. Moldy, you've done it again. Archipelago is the only map in Overboard that smells faintly of brimstone. The Archie brothers' satanic shenanigans, hordes of hungry demons tromping in blood,
can you fall?
And the driving,
it looks like you can.
Are just diabolic enough to make me dream of elevators tonight. Syriac lets you uncork the plasma and rocket launcher, but once the first 2 vials die, prepare for an overwhelming influx of revenants, hell knights, and lethal long-range arachnotrons. Like Kakotoa, Archipelago is essentially one quick fight, but it's a pretty damn good one, and I can't get over how radical this inverted island is. If you're wondering where Archibald III went, take a fire blue portal and check on your boat.
He's trying to figure out how to work the boat.
Anthropomorphizing demons will never not be...
Oh, suitcase!
Grade A, difficulty...
Wait, sorry, I screamed over you. What'd you say?
Anthropomorphizing demons will never not be funny. Grade A, difficulty B.
Yeah,
Map
it's true.
6, Seaside Siege. Not so much a pun as a reference to Alien Vendetta's
Hillside
Siege.
Siege.
Overboard's final level takes you on one more sunny rampage.
The music is so good.
Bombastic map with a crap ton of beach bums to bust up. For the
The music is so good. Oh my god.
First time in this WAD, I'm not sure how I feel about massacring Moldy's minions. I mean, look at these poor guys. Just playing on the beach, having some drinks at the tiki bar, whale watching. Makes you wonder who the real bad guy is. Anyway, there's a stop in this castle. It's your ticket home if you can nab the yellow skull key, fight off the vials, and survive an onslaught of imps while being shelled by Mancubi and cyber demons. Just like in Night 2, the environment actively facilitates the imp invasion with teleporters and automated lifts. But this time, you're also privy to their mode of transportation. Hope you like that pun, Syriac. Knocking down the sandcastle on the hidden...
I got that one, don't worry.
You're also privy to their mode of transportation. Hope you like that pun, Syriac.
There's an opportunity to say commode of transportation. I thought that's what you were going for. I thought you were just like starting the word here, you know what I mean?
Yeah, knocking down the sandcastle on the hidden beach gives you an invuln, and curious players will mark this palm-covered rock that opens up to a BFG. I've never actually used it because I missed it the first time and forgot about it subsequently, but I'm sure it's swell to have. Seaside Siege is a lovely send-off, putting a bow on possibly the tightest half-hour of Doom I've ever played. Grade A, difficulty B. Map 7, see you later, suckers. So that's it. Overboard wraps with a few funny lines of story text and a triumphant final shot of our heroes speeding towards land.
Hey!
We did it, guys. We won the game.
We win.
Hey, get out of here.
Bruh!
Buzz off, you dumb imp.
Alright.
Oh, he didn't like that. No, he did not like that one bit.
Ah!
So this isn't really news, since this WAD has been out for months now.
Yeah, I know this
The
already.
adventure does not end here. For true completionists, Moldy included a new game
Oh my god, that animation was that was so awesome. Oh my god.
plus mode, which rebalances all 6 maps to be considerably harder than their originals. To unlock the true ending, you can type idclev 14 or power through 6 more souped up maps with a
Oh, well, you gotta play the maps, right? Come on, you gotta play it.
conscience. So, let me give you the skinny on Overboard's New Game Plus. Cruisin' in UAC is probably the most noticeably beefed up New Game Plus map. Moldy added 5 Archviles and a whole bunch of Revenants to the crew, and let the Cyber Demon out of the basement. Hustle below decks without getting splattered, and you can tussle with 2 Archviles for a Plasma Gun and Invuln, which essentially sews up the map. This map difficulty goes from a D+ to a B. The 2 main game changers in Skeleton Coast Plus are the early arrival of the Revenant ship, which increases the bone count by 30, and the higher Archvile occupancy. It's very unwise to leave them unattended, and the extra megaspheres seem to encourage face tanking a little bit of fire. This gets a bump from C+ to B+. Depth Charge was already my favorite map in the set, but its redux somehow improves on the original concept. This time there's a Cyber Demon chasing you through the map, and when you pick up this Invuln in the boiler room, 2 Archviles spawn back at the beginning. Moldy cushions the player with power-ups and ammo, encouraging aggressive play, and by moving the gas can to the map's start, he transforms a previously linear event into a crazed zigzag past hissing vials, whizzing rockets, and creamed chipped zombies. Moldy is on a completely different level if he can improve an A+ map. Depth charges difficulty surfaces to a B from a C. Conversely, Kakotoa's hardcore iteration takes a major hit in the fun department for me. In fairness to Moldy, I played like a pinhead here, but doubling the volcano's revenants, Kakos, pain elementals, and archviles causes the kill count to balloon a bit unreasonably unless you pounce on the archviles swiftly while making judicious use of the extra hidden invuln and BFG to clear the crowds. Difficulty explodes from a B- to an A-. Archipelago Plus starts off significantly easier than the original, giving you a ton of ammo and all the guns to deal with a moderately buffed start, but then...
Oh, Jesus. Oh my god.
Luckily, Moldy gift-wrapped you an invuln for the Vile's revenge. The last round is arguably easier
you can't
than
fall,
before,
alright.
with 2 cybers you can use to stir up infighting. Difficulty gets a small bump from B to B+. Overboard's upgraded finale feels to me like the more correct version. Moldy just chucks 500 imps and a castle preloaded with baddies at you right from the start and says, go for glory, mate. If you can hang 10 through the mayhem, chowderize some imps, and retake the beach, you should have the upper hand. Seaside Siege Take 2 gets the mildest difficulty bump in New Game Plus from a B to a B+, just barely, which leaves Kakotoa Plus as my personal pick for the hardest map in the WoD. Before we close out this episode of Sawed Off WoDs, let's have a look at Overboard's actual end. Map 14, the actual end. Doom Guy coming home to his flat always puts a smile on my face. The actual end confirms that Overboard and Going Down share a universe and leaves the door open yet again for further development. Check on your plants and the human haunch in your fridge, kick back, and play some Doom. Or maybe watch some Dean of Doom. Haunch in your fridge, kick back, and play some Doom. Or maybe watch some Dean of Doom.
Oh, here we go. Yep. That was a good bet. I like this bet.
Mr. Harris's Holiday from Doom didn't dull his mapping chops in the slightest. Overboard is a joyous experience, probably the funniest and most delightful map set I've ever played. It's also one of the most replayable and accessible WoDs out there, perfect for roping in skeptical Doom newcomers and estranged veterans alike. It was a pleasure to play, replay, and write about this one, and I urge you all to go ahead and download it right away. My final grade for Overboard is an A+. I'll give out 2 difficulty grades for this one since New Game Plus is a distinct and optional experience. Normal mode gets a C+, and New Game Plus gets a B+. Full mark higher, but definitely easier than Going Down when all is said and done. And that concludes today's episode of Sawed Off WoDs. Before the bell rings, let me quickly display today's honor roll, which is comical because it includes all but 2 of the maps I covered today. You honestly can't go wrong with any one of these. Thank you very much for watching. Please feel free to share your thoughts on the WoDs down below. I'd love to hear what you think, and I'll heart your comments to let you know I've read them. Now, I'd like to take a moment to acknowledge my generous patrons.
Is
Aaron
there
Allen.
anything else at the end here? Let me see. Does not look that way. Let's see what he has to say.
Ultra Cow. Why BMO Not a Crab? William Huber, and Waukeshack. Thank you. I appreciate all of you very much. This is Mount Pain 27, and I'll see you in February.
The month of love, boys! H-Doom is coming, yeah! Well, this was a wonderful episode of Sawed Off. Overboard looks so cool, and I can't wait to get to play that in, like, 2037, when I finally get through the rest of the CAC Awards. It's gonna be awesome. Well, alright, that's the end of this here reaction to Sawed Off 3. Looking forward to the resumation, whatever the word is, of Season 3. Good night, friends.